welcome back to Beyond the Studio Pilates. My name's Hannah and today I'm going to take you through a flow class. Now this is a more advanced Pilates class than a usual Pilates class. If you have a resistance band or two cans, we're going to use those today for a bit of upper body work. Let's get going. So we are going to start standing, bringing those feet together. Then heels come out, toes come out to meet them, and then we're just going to take a gentle circle. So I just want you to move your weight from your toes around your foot to your heel and back around to your toes. Just a gentle circle. Just feel that weight move. And then taking your circle in the other direction, letting that weight move around your foot. And then bringing yourself to a standstill where that weight is evenly balanced between your heel and your toe. So keeping that weight even, knees are soft, up to your pelvis, little tilt backwards and forwards to see how it wants to move today. And then bringing that to a standstill where that tailbone is pointing down to the ground. Restack those vertebrae, growing towards the ceiling. Next, thinking about that pelvic floor. So we're getting in that lift on floor 1, riding it up to floor 10. So feeling that internal squeeze from the back to the front. Remember, nothing on the outside changes, and then gently letting it off. Going to do that 2 more times. So up to that 10th floor, and then gently release. And again, up to that 10th floor, and then gently release. And final time, up to that 10th floor. And then this time with control, just slowly relaxing it off until we get to that 2nd or 3rd floor, and that's our 20 to 30% we want to hold for the rest of the session. Thinking about that TBA next, so putting on that big belt, drawing it up to the 10th hole, so waist gets smaller, belly button, spine, ribs to hips, and then gently letting it off. And again, up to that 10th hole. And then this time with control, slowly letting it back off until we get to that notch 2 or 3, and that's our 20 to 30% we're going to hold for the rest of the session. Thinking about breathing next, wide thoracic breathing, remember to the side of and the back of your ribcage. When you exhale, remember, draw that pelvic floor up a little bit. So interlacing your fingers over your ribcage. We're going to take a nice wide and full breath in. And then exhale. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more like this. Inhale. And exhale. And final time, inhale. And exhale. Super. Okay. From here, taking your right ear to your right shoulder, and then you're just going to take your head on a journey round to the left. So it's just a really gentle semicircle. Don't try and force your head, just let it go along kind of the movement pattern it wants to. So don't try and force it, just gently rolling your head from side to side, loosening up, warming up through that neck. 2 more here. Final 1. And then bring your head back to the top. Then from here we're going to go chin to chest, back to the middle, and then look to the ceiling. Really let your jaw relax. Back to the middle, and then chin to chest. We're going to do 5 more of these. So just in your own time, taking your head from each position letting go of any tension in that jaw. Final 3. And 2. And final 1. Okay. Then from here, you're going to take your right hand onto the right hand side of your head. Try and look to the right and push your hand into your head. Push your head into your hand. Hold it there. Then placing your hand on your forehead, push your forehead forward into your hand. Then left hand side of your head, trying to look to the left. And then to the back. And I'm going to go around one more time. So right hand side. And to the front. And to the left. And to the back. And then bring that hand back down. Moving on to your shoulders, we're going to take 3 shoulder rolls backwards. And 3 shoulder rolls forwards. Then we're going to make them bigger, so we're going into an elbow roll. And the other way. Then you're going to interlace your fingers, bring your arms above your head, check in with that rib to hip connection. So make sure you haven't let those ribs flare forward, and then we're just creating a nice circle above our heads, just loosening up through that upper back, ready for our resistance band work. Then taking it in the other direction. And then we start to make that a little bit bigger. So you're now going to let your back and core get involved, keeping everything else nice and still. Then we're going to take that in the other direction, keeping the weight even between your heel and your toe, remember. And 2, and 1, and then coming back to the middle, stretching those arms to the ceiling and up and out. Okay, so if you have a resistance band, that would be great. If not, 2 cans will do, or you can do this just without either, that's absolutely fine too. Just if you would like to add in a little bit of extra work, you're very welcome. So taking hold of your resistance band, we're going to start with a rotator cuff. So if you are using a band, you need a bit of band in the middle to play with, or you're going to imagine you have a sponge in each hand. Standing tall, core engaged, we're going to squeeze the sponge, then take your wrist out to the side. Gently release back to the middle and release. So we're squeezing, going out. Slowly back to the middle and release. We're going to do 3 more like that. Standing tall, 2 more like this, and then we're going to add on a little pulse. And final 1. So this time we're going to hold it out there, and we're going to do 5 little pulses. So just push your wrists out a little bit further for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then gently release back to the middle. We're going to do 4 without pulses. So gripping on and then taking it out for 4, 3, 2, and final 1, holding it out there, 4 little pulses. 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently release to the middle. 3 without pulses this time. So 3, 2, and final 1. Holding it out there, 3 little pulses. 3, 2, 1. Back to the center. 2 more to go. So 2 little pulls. Holding this one out there, 2 pulses. 2 and 1. And back in. Now 1 without a pulse. And then 1 with a pulse. And then just let those shoulders have a little roll in each direction. Give yourself some more band in the middle, so we're going to go a bit deeper. We're going to go into our rhomboids. So standing tall, wrists go out to the side, and then you're pushing your elbows out, bringing those arms out so they're straight. Then you're going to gently let your elbows come back in, and then bring your wrists back to the middle. Let those hands release. So we're squeezing and out. Push out with your elbows. Don't lock out your arms. Just take them so they're nearly, so just before they're locked out. So a soft elbow joint. Keeping belly button to spine, core engaged. We're going to do 3 more here. Release in the middle. Take those wrists out, elbows out. Elbows back in, wrists back in. Final time. And then again, give those shoulders a little wiggle in each direction. From here, we're going to go on to a simple bicep curl. So you're just bringing the band, again, placing the band under one foot, or if you've got 2 cans, obviously you're just holding them in your hands, or you could use some little hand weights or water bottles filled with water, so you can increase or decrease the resistance or the weight. So core engaged, make sure you're standing tall, make sure the band especially isn't pulling you forward. Keep your pelvis in its neutral. And then from here we're going to just gently bring one arm up and then slowly bring it back down. So I want you to imagine that whatever is in your hand or the resistance behind your hand is like 10 times harder than it actually is. So I want you to really control it back down. Don't let it snap at your arm. So you're controlling that movement, bringing the bottom half of your arm up and then slowly letting it go, releasing it back down. We're going to do 3 more on each side. Final 2 on each side. Final 1 on each side. Okay. Then from here, going to drop the band that's in one hand, slide the band along your foot, bring the band up so it's behind you. So you've taken the band from the front, twisted your hand so it's facing, your palm is facing forward, and then brought your elbow up near your ear. Core engaged. You can also do this with a can or a water bottle, and then you're going to make sure it's closed properly if it's a water bottle. Just raise your wrist to the roof. So again, you're in control of how much you work. So if you need to, you can take in a little bit of band, or you can give yourself some more band if you've made it too tricky. Final 4, 3, 2, and final 1. And then gently bring that band back down. Swapping to the other side, so again, standing on the band, palm to the front, twist that elbow round, and then taking your wrist to the roof. Keep linking belly button to spine, make sure those ribs are still in line with your hips. Standing tall. And final 4. 3, 2, and final 1. And then gently bringing that arm back down, stepping off the band. Going to make the band into a U again. Again, you can either do this with or without the band if you want to. You're going to stand in the middle of the band. Going to take your pelvis backwards, bring your chest forward. Make sure you've kept your pelvis in neutral, so you haven't either tilted it so that your tailbone is poking up, and you haven't really rounded through your back either, so you want it in that neutral position. You need to take in a bit of band if you're using the band. Arms are just going to gently fall towards the floor. From here, you're then going to bring your elbows up to your sides and then extend your arms out to the back. So we're doing a bent over row. Keep linking belly button to spine, core engaged. Check on the positioning of your neck. Make sure that your neck is in alignment and you're not either looking up or really looking back. Try and keep that neck nice and long. And we're just coming up and then out. Again, don't want to lock out that elbow joint, so it's just a gentle movement, no locking out of that elbow. And we're going to do 5 more here. And final 3. And final 2. And final 1. And then just coming off the band, placing your band somewhere where you can find it later. And then from here we're going to move on to balance. So if you have a grey block, you're very welcome to use it. If not, the floor is fine. If you need something to hold on to, make sure it's something solid. Left foot is coming onto the block first, core engaged. Right leg comes out in front, and we're just starting with a semicircle. So just a gentle opening action of that hip. Keep your weight even between your heel and your toes. This is a really good way of building strength in that ankle joint. Okay, 3 to go. Keep standing tall. Final 1. Then bring that leg to the front, core switched on. From here we're going to do 5 taps. 3, 2, 1. Out to the side, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1. Round to the back. Move from your hip, don't bend at the knee. 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to the front, core switched on, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1. Round to the side, core on, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1. Back to the back, core on, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1. Back to the front, coming into a raise, 5 raises. 3, 2, 1. Out to the side, core on, 5 raises. 3, 2, 1, round to the back, standing tall, push back, don't lean forwards. 3, 2, 1, back to the front, final time, doing really well. 3, 2, 1, out to the side, core on, 5 raises. 3, 2, 1, back to the back, core switched on, 5 pushes backwards. 3, 2, 1, back to the front, hold it, and then gently stepping to the side, give those ankles a little walk out. Having a little look at your footprint, remember you're trying to make a nice even heel and toe, then flipping that block over so you're standing on the other side. Right foot is on the block, core switched on, left leg out in front, and then starting with that semicircle. Nice gentle movement, just warming up through that hip joint. And final 2. And final 1. Okay, bringing that leg to the front, core switched on, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1, out to the side, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1, around to the back, moving from your hip, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1, back to the front, core on, 5 taps, standing tall. 2, 1, out to the side, 5 taps. 3, 2, 1, round to the back, 5 taps. 2, 1, back to the front, lifting that leg up, 5 raises. 2, 1, out to the side, core switched on, 5 raises. 2, 1, round to the back, push back for 5. 2, 1, and back to the front, core switched on, 5 raises. 3, 2, 1, out to the side, 5 raises. 2, 1, round to the back, push back for 5. 3, 2, 1, back to the front, hold it, and then gently stepping to the side, give those ankles a little wiggle. Checking your footprint, so remember trying to make a nice even heel and toe, popping your block back somewhere where it's out of the way. And then we're going to do one more little standing exercise before we roll to the mat, and we're going to do a squat with a heel lift. So core on, going to sit down into that imaginary chair, keeping your feet underneath you. And then from here, you're going to take your right arm backwards as you lift your left heel off the floor. And then you're going to swap, so left arm comes back, right heel comes off the floor. Now I want you to see if you can take yourself a little bit lower. Keep the weight even, so don't swing from side to side, and we're just working into those calves. Keep thinking core. We're going to do 2 more. And final 1. And then pushing with your feet back to the top. Well done. We're going to do another set. Core switched on. Back into that chair. Arms in front. And then we're going to lift. And lift. Try and take yourself a bit lower. Keep that weight even. Don't swing. You can swing your arms, but your legs should be moving forward. Make sure your weight isn't swinging side to side. You really feel this in those calves. Maybe in your quads a bit too. Final 2. Final 1. And then push yourself back up to standing. Quad stretch. Calf stretch, big step forward, pushing that back heel down into the floor, standing tall, taking that stretch in that calf, hold it there. Then big step back with the other foot, heel to the floor, take that calf stretch, keeping your body upright, so try not to lean forward. And then bringing that foot back up, and from here we're going to go on to our roll downs. So today we're going to just do 3 roll downs with press ups. So feet are underneath you, we're taking an inhale at the top. Exhale, tucking your chin, leading with the crown of your head. Remember, your arms are just hanging out, doing their own thing. Going to slowly roll down 1 vertebrae at a time. When you get to the bottom, try and keep your heels on the floor for as long as you can. Bring yourself out into your high plank position. From here, you can bring your knees to the floor if you want to do a 3/4 press up, that's fine. And we're going to do 6 press ups. Here we go for 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, and final 1. Then walking yourself back in, finding your feet, legs come to straight, take an inhale, and then exhale, tucking your pelvis back underneath you, keeping your ribs connected to your hips, and restacking back to standing. Holding here for an inhale, and then exhale. Tucking your chin, leading with the crown of your head. Slow, controlled roll to the floor. And when you get to the bottom again, walking yourself forward into your high plank or press up position. Make sure you're not sagging in the middle if you're doing press ups from here, and then we're doing 6. Remember, your head goes forward, elbows go backwards. Keep that core switched on. We have 2 more to go. And final 1. And then walking your hands back in, finding your feet, legs to straight, take an inhale, exhale. Gently rolling yourself back up to standing. Final that time, this time after our press ups, we will stay at the floor. Nice gentle roll down, really mobilizing through each vertebrae, keeping it nice and controlled. When you get to the floor, walking your hands forward into your press up position. Core switched on, and here we go. Final 3, final 2, and final 1. And then gently bringing your knees down to the floor, fingertips together, pushing those fingers out. Nice little jellyfish wrist stretch. And then from here, we are going to do a swan dive. So, going to bring yourself down onto the mat. Toes are tucked in, so those glutes are off. And you're bringing your arms out so your elbow is in front of your shoulder, eye line, staying down at the floor in front of you. From here, we're going to take an inhale. Then you're going to exhale. Head, neck and shoulders come off the mat, sliding those shoulder blades down your back, holding it here for an inhale. Core switched on, exhale. Back down to the floor, holding it here for an inhale. And then exhale. Holding at the top, inhale. And exhale. Back to the mat. Going to do 3 more like this. And final 2. and final one. Okay, this time we're going to add in a single arm lift and take that arm forward. So we're inhaling at the bottom, exhaling, coming up, hold it there, core switched on, going to lift an arm, take it forward, eye line stays down at the floor in front of you, lift the other arm, stretch it forward, bring it down, hold and then release to the mat. Going to do 5 more, inhaling here, exhale, holding at the top, breathing naturally as you lift and stretch out through each arm, holding for your next inhale, and then exhale, gently down to the mat, holding at the bottom for your inhale, exhale. Remember, there should be no tension on that lower back. Everything is working in your upper back. Core stays switched on. Imagine you're lying on a little ice cube. Don't let that belly button get cold. Final 3. Final 2. Really reach that arm forward. Gently bring it back to the floor. Final 2. Keep thinking belly button to spine. Core stays switched on. Toes are turned in so those glutes are off. Final time here. Okay, then from here you're going to turn your head to look to the right, bring your right hand next to your right shoulder, leave your left arm in your swan dive position, going to bring both feet off the floor, and then you're going to take your feet over to the left hand side, apply a little bit of pressure through your right hand so you get a nice stretch through the front of your chest on the left side, holding it there. Coming back to the middle, and we're going to swap sides, so right arm into your swan dive position, looking to the left hand next to your shoulder, feet into the air, take your feet to the right, apply a little bit of pressure through that left hand if you need it, holding it there, stretching through that right hand side. And coming back to the middle, feet to the floor, hands under your shoulders, push yourself back, and we're coming into a wide kneed child's pose, stretching your arms out in front of you, taking a few breaths here for me. Then walking your hands around to the left hand side, taking that stretch through the right hand side of your back, holding it there. And coming back to the middle, walking your hands around to the right hand side, taking that stretch through the left hand side of your back. And then coming back to the middle, and from here we are going to come onto our side and we're going to do noughts and crosses. So this is a really good exercise for your glutes and for your core. We're going to do up to 8 of each, but if 8 is too many, just reduce the number down. Do what you feel comfortable with today. So you're bringing your feet so that they're into alignment. Rib to hip connection, core switched on, little gap under that low side. Remember, you can bend that bottom leg, hand in front if you need some more support. From here, top leg comes to hip height, and then we're doing 8 up to 8 circles in one direction and then in the other direction. 7, 8, and reverse, core switched on. Remember, your core is really stabilizing the rest of your body, so nothing else should be moving apart from your leg. 7 and 8. Okay, holding it here, core on. We're going into our crosses, so we're going down to the front, back to hip height, up to the back. Check that you don't let that back go into extension. Back to hip height, up to the front, back to hip height, down to the back again. Keep that core switched on. Back to hip height. Here we go, up to 8, down to the front, hip height, up to the back, hip height, up to the front, hip height, down to the back. Core switched on, keeping everything else nice and still. Keep the movement nice and fluid. Remember, you can make your cross bigger or smaller. If it's a little bit too big and you're finding it a bit tricky, just make it smaller. Don't have to do 8. 8 is the maximum. We're halfway there. You're doing really, really well. Keep the movement nice and fluid from section to section. Final 3. And final 2. And final 1. Doing really well. Stretch that leg up, back to hip height, up to the front, down to the back, back to hip height, and then gently releasing down. From here, we're going to do a nice quad stretch, so just bending that leg, getting hold of your foot. You can always use the band to help you if you need to. Core switched on, and then just gently take that knee backwards, holding it there. And then gently letting that knee off, and from here we're going to come onto our backs. So coming down onto the mat, gently bringing yourself down to the floor. Thinking about your setup, so remember, knees, feet and hips all in a line, rib to hip connection. Little gap under that low back, eyes to the sky, neck is in a good place. Arms are coming up so your palms are facing your knees. Core switched on, going to bring both legs up into your tabletop position. Knees over hips, shins parallel with the ceiling. From here, we're taking an inhale. Exhale. Reach that opposite arm and leg away. Now remember, if you need to make it easier, bring them higher. If you want to make it harder, you take them lower. Hold for an inhale And then exhale. Gently bring them back to the center. Inhale in the middle. Exhale. Other side. Hold them there. Inhale. Exhale. Back to the center. Hold in the middle for an inhale. Exhale. Remember, as you exhale, scoop up that pelvic floor. As you take that arm and leg out, remember, make sure that opposite knee doesn't move in. That opposite knee must stay in tabletop. It can't come in any further. It's not allowed to help you out. Inhaling in the middle. Exhale. Stretching out. Hold for an inhale. Exhale. Back to the center. Inhale in the middle. Going to do 2 more to each side. Make sure you're keeping your back in neutral, so you're not letting that back push into the mat. Final 1 to each side. And then bring 1 leg down and 2 legs down. Facing your palms towards each other, you can decide now whether to keep your feet on the floor or you can bring both legs back up into tabletop. You're going to stretch your left arm towards the ceiling and then gently bring it out to the side. Hold it here for an inhale. Exhale. Bring it back to the center. Right arm stretches out. Hovering above the ground, hold, and then exhale, back to the center. Keep your core switched on. If you've got your legs in tabletop, make sure that they stay there and don't start to edge in a little bit closer to your body. If you need to, at any time, you could either take 1 leg or both legs down to the ground. And we're just really reaching, stretching out through that arm, making that arm work against gravity, building some strength in those arms. We're going to do 2 more to each side, really stretching up and out, holding it there. Exhale, back to the center. Thinking belly button to spine, rib to hip connections are really important here. Keeping everything else nice and still. Just your arms are doing the moving. Final 1 here. And then bring 1 leg down and 2 legs down and your arms down. And from here we're going to do a nice IT stretch. So you're going to bring your right leg up and over your left leg. Now you can either just push your right knee from here, make sure your ankle bone isn't on your thigh, or you can interlace your fingers behind your left leg and push your right knee with your right elbow, holding it there. Make sure you're breathing into your stretches. Holding there a little bit longer. And bringing both legs back to the floor. Left leg is coming up and over. Make sure that ankle bone isn't on your thigh again. Pushing with your left hand or interlace your fingers behind your right leg. Push your left elbow into your knee. See if you can hold it there a little bit longer. And bringing both legs back to the mat, taking yourself into a full body stretch. And then you can roll yourself back up to sitting. And we're going to come on to our other side of noughts and crosses. So remember, up to 8, but you don't have to do 8. You can do less if that is more appropriate to you. So we're coming onto our right hand side this time. Keep thinking about your position. So remember, feet in front of you, hand in front. If you need some more support, you could also bend that bottom leg. Top leg comes to hip height, core engaged, everything stays nice and still, just your leg is moving for up to 8 circles. Final one. And then reversing your circles, core switched on, make sure you're not pushing yourself into the mat. Final one. Okay, holding it here and into our crosses. So we're going down to the front, back to hip height, up to the back, back to hip height, up to the front, back to hip height, down to the back, up to 8. Here we go. Keep thinking belly button to spine. Core stays switched on. Remember, as you take that leg backwards, careful you don't go into extension. So really important you keep your core stabilizing your body as you move your leg through the cross, especially when you go backwards. Keep your chin lifted, make sure you're not looking down at your feet, and this is number 4. Okay, 3 to go, doing really well. Remember, if you need to, reduce the size of your cross, that will also help with the control. Final one. And then gently bring that leg back down, bend that foot. You can use a resistance band to help you if you need to. Hold on to that foot and then just gently take that knee backwards until you can feel that quad stretch, holding it there. And gently releasing that foot off and finding your way back to sitting. I'm going to do another really nice glute stretch. So you're going to find your way into a box position. Then you're going to take your left leg out behind you, slide it over to the right hand side of your body, and then just gently move yourself backwards so you're getting that stretch into that right glute. Holding it there for me. And then pushing yourself back up into your box position. Right leg out behind you, slide it to the left and then guide yourself backwards, holding it there. And tucking those back toes. Final stretch, we're going to do our hamstring stretch. So if you have a band, that's going to be useful. If you don't have a band, don't worry, I will talk you through it without it. A pair of tights also work as a fantastic resistance band for this exercise. So again, you're gently coming down onto the floor, core switched on, left foot is staying flat on the floor, right heel is going into the band, and then you're just going to gently pull that leg in until you can feel that stretch in the body of your hamstrings. You can either hold on to the back of your shin or the back of your thigh, not the back of your knee if you aren't using a band. Holding it there for me. Then tucking your toes towards your face, so you can bring it a little bit closer. Then placing that band into your left hand, guide that leg over to the left hand side of your body, holding onto your leg if you don't have a band. So you bring that leg a little bit closer. Then bring that leg back to the middle, place the band into your right hand, let that leg fall out to the right hand side, keep your left hip on the floor. You can just support that leg from underneath if you don't have the band. Then coming back to the middle, opening up the band, placing your left heel in the band, right foot back to flat on the floor, and then just gently bringing that leg in, feeling that stretch in the body of that hamstring. And so you can point your toe at your face, bring it a little bit closer. And placing that band in your right hand, guiding that leg over to the right hand side. If you don't have a band, just holding on to that leg. Bring it a little bit closer. And coming back to the middle, Placing the band into your left hand, let that leg fall out to the left. Keep your right hip on the floor. And just seeing if you can let that go a little bit further. Remember, supporting your leg underneath if you're not using a band. Then bringing that leg back to the middle, bringing the band off your foot, laying your right leg out straight, going to bring your left leg up on top of your right leg, left arm out to the side, and then just guide your left knee over to the right hand side of your body, holding it there. And coming back to the middle, stretching that leg out, bring your right leg up on top of your left leg, and then guide it over to the left hand side of your body with your right arm, with your left arm, sorry, holding it there. Then coming back to the middle, stretching those legs out, arms into the air, take an inhale, then exhale, tucking your chin, leading with the crown of your head, slowly rolling up. Coming to high knees, bringing your hands to the floor, tucking your toes under, hands walk backwards. Then see if you can bring your hands off the floor, push your heels into the floor so you're sitting in like a frog squat position, and then you're going to push yourself back up to standing. Feet are back underneath you, pelvis in neutral. Going to take an inhale, bend those legs. Exhale, bring your right arm over either onto the side of your left leg or under your left foot. Left arm comes into the air, you can put it on your back if you want to, and then pull your right shoulder back to the ceiling. Then bringing both arms back to the middle. Bringing yourself back up to standing, bending your knees. Left arm comes up and over onto the right hand side of your leg, or the right under your right foot. Right arm into the air, pull your left shoulder back to the ceiling. And then bring both arms back to the front, gently stand back up, core switched on. I'm going to take an inhale, bring those arms up and over, and then exhale, push the walls away, bring those arms back down, two more like this. And final one. And then we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining my flow class with resistance bands today. I hope you found it really beneficial. Drink plenty of water, and I'll see you on the mat again very soon. Bye for now.